I urge my two friends here, other than enjoying the benefit of having a cup of hot water, once in a while it's good to visit Bomas. I spent my whole day yesterday there.
Yes.
And I have been there before because a lot of national discourse is taking place at Bomas. We have seen submissions, wonderful, beautiful submissions from the Federation of Kenya Employers. Unfortunately, KOTU has been fornicating with government. They are no longer there. They were not represented. Atuoli didn't come. They did send representation, but workers were waiting for representation. I have seen very good submissions from the women representatives. I have seen them talk about the two-third gender rule. There have been representations on abuse of human rights,
yes,
abuse of the constitution. Like now, our country wants to take our policemen to Haiti. The law is clear in Kenya. We have a police act that says, this is cap 100 of the laws of Kenya, that the police are deployed to work within the boundaries of Kenya and they can work. And now I think Haiti has become part of the boundaries of Kenya and so on and so forth. So there were powerful, beautiful submissions that would actually build this nation. Unfortunately, for one reason or the other, our wonderful fourth estate has a way of switching off cameras when people who they think are not very important are making presentations. And so that when a politician of great repute comes and picks up the mic, then the media kind of, all the cameras come on, you see a rush because Kalonzo Musyoka has come in, because Kimani Ichung'wah has come in. Jana Ferdinand Waititu came, he didn't have an appointment, but he was a coroner. And he gave a very interesting spanner. He threw a very interesting spanner in the works when he talked about his impeachment. And he said, you know what, by the way, for example, I was impeached, but the people who wanted to impeach me are not the people of Kiambu. They are MCAs, and the bulk of those MCAs are not back. So why am I still outside, and why am I still not being allowed to vie, whereas a clique of a few MCAs who threw me out are also out, the ones who wanted me. So he raised a very important constitutional law question that everybody laughed about and thought, wait a minute, we had never looked at issues from this angle.
Yes.
Having said that, if you have nothing to hide, then you wouldn't be afraid. If today your wife comes and tells you, I suspect you have HIV/AIDS, will you tell them we are never going to do a scan? We are never going to the VCT. We are not going to talk about it. I think the correct thing is to tell your wife, let us go to VCT. Let us do a test. Let us do another one after 3 months. Let us check whether I truly have HIV and AIDS. But when you come and say we want this election, we want it fair and square, and we do not want an audit, we do not want a conversation around it, then what it means is that there's probably something very wrong with your head. As we speak right now, Jubilee, what he's saying is untrue. Jubilee came and they showed the particular forms that came from polling stations, vis-a-vis the forms that were pulled from the IEBC portal, vis-a-vis the forms that some international observers ended up sharing internationally, and there were huge, huge, huge discrepancies. I'll also tell you that the Bomas talks are not a rope for the opposition to hang themselves. Mm-hmm. The first person who so desperately needs these talks is President William Ruto himself. This government wants to sanitize, and you've had Malala speak on TV today, or yesterday for that matter, about the office that is held by Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, because it's an amorphous office. So this government does want to fix that amorphous office in the Constitution. This government is hell-bent on making sure, making sure that we have a leader of official opposition in this country. This government is desperate to increase the presidential term limit to 7 years, and they are not shy about it. This government is desperate to, if they had the chance to tax us everything and leave us to beg from them after they've taxed from us. And all these things are ways they are finding ways they can enshrine that in the Constitution. And so I can tell you the government needs these talks more than you think, and more than the opposition needs these talks. And they know that Mudavadi's position without Bomas will become a useless position. They know that they will not be able to, let me tell you, in a proper working democracy, the official leader, the leader of majority in parliament, and by the way, he's occupying that position, though this matter is in court, illegally, is not supposed to be doing what Kimani Ichung'wah is doing, because now he's acting like he runs parliament, which is not supposed to be the case. That's the speaker's job. Then we have another biased speaker, and speaker is supposed to be a neutral person in our constitutional dispensation and how he runs things. He's just a Kenya Kwanza speaker. He's not a speaker of the National Assembly of Kenya. And that is why they are so desperate to have an official leader of opposition, so that the speaker continues to be a Kenya Kwanza speaker. And the leader of majority continues to be a leader who is running the Kenya Kwanza agenda. And so for me, for anyone to think that these talks are going to help the opposition, no. And for anyone to think that these talks are going to pacify the opposition, no. I can tell you the government desperately needs these talks and is using these talks to try and bring those funny things. And by the way, they will fail so badly with a 7-year term.
That's it. Pretty much. John, you have so much on your court.